Welcome everybody out to Money Matrix Week 10 Business Hacking. I'm extremely excited to share with you what I have today because it's probably the number one thing when I coach people one-on-one that they struggle with, and it's really the mindset. The first part of this is going to be what you guys have seen in previous seminars that I've done. It's the 5 stages of belief. The reason I want to bring it up is I'm actually going to send you guys this slideshow so you can teach it to your people. So I'm going to walk you through the way that I teach it. Now, some of the stories are custom to me, so feel free to change your stories for yourself. And then from there, you guys can use this any way, shape, or form you want. At the end of it, I'm going to have some videos. If those videos don't play properly, I'm going to play them anyways, just for the sake of the recording purposes, so you can review them later. But I will also send you the links so you can share them publicly on your social media. You can share them within your organizations, however you want. So today is really going to be a hands-on gift to you to lift your teams, to build your people up and help them, focus on their time management, their belief system, and everything they struggle with. So let's get started and get playing here. What does a Nintendo Wii, elephants, hummingbirds, an alcoholic, the Brooklyn Bridge, and the University of Texas have to do with success? There's 5 stages of belief. The first stage of belief is impossible. Every single person goes through these different stages. One day I was washing the dishes in the kitchen, which overlooked into the family room, and my 5-year-old son was playing the Nintendo Wii. Now he had both joysticks in his hands, and he was playing tennis. So he was playing the left side and the right side simultaneously. After watching him for about 20 minutes, he got so frustrated, he threw down the joystick and said, "I just can't win." And I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, okay, there's my gene pool. Here's a kid who's playing both sides. He is winning and losing simultaneously. So I turned to him and I said, "Pierce, you're playing both sides, sweetie. You're going to win and lose at the same time." No, Dad, I know I can do it. I know I can win." I said, "Okay, keep going. Try it." He played for about another 10 more minutes, threw him down like, "I give up. I can never win." And I thought, how often as adults do we feel that way? We're trying, we're giving our best, and as an entrepreneur, we're doing everything we can, but we still feel it's impossible. The sad thing is, when we think something's impossible, we give up too early. The way that they capture elephants and train them for the circuses or parades is when they're young elephants, they'll take a chain, put it around their leg, and then tie that chain to a tree. That elephant will cry and wail and pull on that chain, and eventually when it realizes it cannot break the chain, it'll give up. When that elephant becomes older, all they have to do is tie a rope around their leg now, put a wood stake in the ground at a circus, and that elephant won't even try. I mean, these elephants weigh tons. They can destroy that rope and that wood peg in a millisecond. But in their mind, they think it's impossible, so they give up. Think about a hummingbird. If you had never seen a hummingbird and you didn't know anything about it, and I told you that a hummingbird weighs less than a nickel, its wings flap 200 times a second, its heart beats 1,200 times a minute, it takes 250 breaths per minute, can fly 30 miles per hour and reach speeds of 60 miles per hour in a dive. It can fly 500 miles nonstop, so it can fly across the Gulf of Mexico without stopping. It's one of the most aggressive birds. It'll fight crows and hawks. And it's the only bird that can fly backwards or hovers. You would think it was impossible, just because you didn't know it was available. So in Renatus and in your marketing messages, how many people think it's impossible? Simply because they haven't seen it. I want to segue a little bit here. I got a text from a client who I just admire and love and adore, and he was struggling today. He was really having a tough time thinking about life, thinking about moving forward and what to do and how to stay on track. This is why this is so important to me. It doesn't matter at what level you play at. I can guarantee you there are days you're going to think it's impossible. When I lost everything in 99, I lost everything in 08, there were many days, many hours that I thought, I can't take one more step. It's just impossible. This is why the 5 stages of belief are so important for you to understand, but also more importantly, for you to teach to your people. Teach them that there are stages, just like rungs on a ladder. As long as you go from stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you're going to make it. But don't get stuck on stage 1 and 2, which brings us to stage 2, which is improbable. When you look at a plane, you know, I've been flying to all these different regionals. I go to Hawaii in 2 days, or actually tomorrow I go to Hawaii. And you think about a plane flying for 6.5 hours across the Pacific Ocean, you would think, that's probably improbable or most likely impossible. Or you take a freighter or a cruise ship that's the size of the Empire State Building laying on its side, you think there's no way that would float. See, people get these thoughts in their mind that it's improbable, meaning that most likely it can't happen. Think about your life. Have you ever been labeled a loser, a failure, a drunk, an idiot, a good for nothing? This guy was, and it's a point where he had the track record to prove that he was an idiot, a drunk, a good for nothing. He missed his college graduation because he was too intoxicated to get a diploma. He then went on to law school, got all the right grades, but was too drunk to pick up his diploma again, so he didn't graduate. At that point, his wife said, you know what? You're just going to have to go into sales. There's nothing else you can do. You're not qualified for anything. The problem was, when he was in sales and on the road, he got very lonely. So what would he do? He'd find solace in a bottle, and he would drink and drink heavily. Well, then he started missing sales appointments, and, you know, one thing led to another, and then he started going broke. He ended up in a hospital, and the doctor said, you know what? You have basically a disease called wet brain. Your brain is literally turning to mush because of the alcohol. He laid in that bed and just cried out to God and said, if my life is meant to be anything, save me now. And he said in that moment, the light filled his room, his bosom. He swore to himself he would never take another drink. But that didn't stop the craving for the drink. So when he would travel, he would call churches and ask the pastors if he knew of anybody who suffered from alcoholism, and he wanted to meet with them. So from city to city, he'd meet with different people. He met a guy named Bob Smith, who they became dear friends. Bob Smith was a doctor, and they started looking at the science behind it and the benefits to meeting frequently, and together they formed AA. After a century of AA, Time magazine selected them as one of the top 20 of all times of Times 100 heroes and icons who exemplified courage, selflessness, exuberance, superhuman ability, and amazing grace of the 20th century. Notice how the labels were different from being a loser and a drunk. When he came together with Bob Smith and he realized he could be something, and together they formed AA, AA has done more for helping people overcome addiction than any religion, any government, any civic responsibility, or civic center. These two guys are alcoholics and now change the world. You would say, well, that's improbable. There's no way that could happen. Now we go to stage 3, possible. Now, possible is fun. This is where you get a little bit of optimism. That's your first sale. That's your first Extreme Plus combo. You start thinking, oh, man, this is possible. I'm on track, and this is going to be great. When you think about the Wright brothers, Henry Ford, spaceships, those things only happened because somebody believed it was possible. This teleconference call we're on, the video you're watching this on, only is available because somebody believed it was possible. No one ever created anything when they think it's impossible or improbable. Only when it becomes possible in someone's mind do they really believe something can happen, which is a beautiful thing. And that takes us to stage 4, probable. Now think about Vegas, if you will. These are where things become probable, where the odds are stacked in your favor, where the house always wins over time. That's probability. You want to create a life of probability, where things are really in your benefit. And this is what you need to teach your people, is how to go from possible to probable. And that is done through very simple processes, very simple, such as creating systems that take possible to probable. Your mindset, the people you hang out with, the opportunities you have, lead you into probabilities. 2 men, a father and son team, John and Washington Roebling, decided to build a bridge connecting Brooklyn and Manhattan. At that point, a bridge had never spanned that far of a distance, and everyone said it was impossible except these 2 gentlemen. They thought it was probable. They thought they could do it. They're almost confident, almost 100% sure they could do it. After a couple months, the first tower they were building collapsed, killing John Roebling and putting Washington Roebling in the hospital. Washington lost all function of his body except his fingers and his eyes and his brain. He could still think, but he was in a coma for months. Coming out of that coma, he and his wife devised a technique where he could tap on her forearm to give her instructions. So he brought together all the engineers, and for the next 13 years, he tapped the instructions on her forearm to convey to them what they needed to do to build this bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge is one of the greatest feats of human ability. The probability that they believed in themselves so much that they knew that they could do it. They would not flinch, they would not back down, they would not falter. They knew they could do it. That confidence inspired others to do the same. And then they started building bridges around the world simply because they knew it was probable. Stage 5. This is the most important stage. This is where you really got to get your people to believing, and it is inevitable. So those of you who are FAB members, those of you who are FIT members, those of you who have taken your business to another level, you did it because you believe it is inevitable. You believe that your success is inevitable. That is absolutely key. I mean, you guys have heard my story, up and down and sideways, made it and lost more fortunes than I can count. I know it is absolutely inevitable for me to succeed because I will not stop until it does. I remember walking with Hugh through Fifth Avenue, and it was a funny conversation. Here you are on Fifth Avenue, one of the greatest places in the world. I mean, millions and billions of dollars in buildings and people who walk those streets. And he said, I don't understand you. You've made and lost millions of dollars. Why do you keep risking it? And I thought, oh, I never thought of that as odd. This is just the way that I live. Because my wife and I have this belief that we only swing for the fences. Literally 2 minutes before this call, we were talking about money matrix and what we were going to do in December and January and how much money we were going to spend on it. And basically we said all in, like whatever it takes. We'll hawk everything we have to make money matrix a world phenomenon. So I only swing for the fence because I know it's inevitable. I know I'm going to strike out. I know I'm going to lose money. I know that things are going to go against me. But I also know, because I've done it so many times, that I will make my goals a reality, that I will make what I want to come true. We have to instill this in everybody, that it is inevitable. There are so many things in your life that are inevitable right now that you just take for granted. It is inevitable that you will find something to eat for lunch. No matter where you are, no matter what your schedule is, it is inevitable you will find something to eat for lunch. We just take that for granted. I know that it is inevitable that my heart will beat every single day without my brain telling it to do it. Oxygen will flow through my body, blood will flow through my body, and I'm going to be just fine. Now, one day I will die, but on a day-to-day basis, it is inevitable those things will happen. I like to watch the sunrise almost every morning. I get up early to watch the sunrise. That is inevitable to me. It is going to happen without doubt. The definition of inevitability is unable to avoid. So let's say you're sliding on the ice and your car sliding and you see a fence or a post or something you don't want to hit. You're like, no, no, no. And you just inevitably, you know you're going to hit it. It is unable to avoid. So let's make success inevitable. Let's make it where without question, it will happen. The University of Texas, 1986. Their basketball season was just coming to an end. Fran Harris was one of the captains of the basketball team. They had played 3 different years they had played and lost to Kentucky every single year. They're going into their senior year and like, we're not losing one more time. We are sick and tired of losing. This is our senior year. What do we have to instill in ourselves to make sure we don't lose? And they did something that every truly successful person does, and that is to set a standard. A standard is unflinchable. Think about kamikaze pilots in World War II. Think about ISIS. They set a standard. They're willing to live and die for their standard. So the standard that these women set for the basketball team is they took an accountability. They went around the room and they said, okay, how many shots are you going to make? How many free throws are you going to shoot? How many rebounds are you going to get? And they would fight for those things, and they would not get off the court until they got them. They would give every single thing they had to make that a reality. Well, going into that season, they went, 2-0, 5-0, 13-0, 16-0. Then they played Kentucky, and I can't do it justice in her beautiful Southern voice, but she said, we beat them so bad like they stole something. They went on to win, I think it was like 36-0, the first time in the NCAA history that a team had gone undefeated before and since 1986. It is the only team in all of the University of Texas that has won an NCAA championship, men or women, doesn't matter what the sport was, simply because they set a standard. That is what makes something inevitable. So for me and my wife, our standard is we don't quit. No matter what, no matter how much we make or how much we lose, we don't quit. Yesterday I was telling a client, I don't care how much money I make. All I care is how much time can I live before I have to make my next dollar. So I consider my net worth in time. How many months, weeks, years, days can I live without making another dollar? That gives me the flexibility to think bigger, to take larger risk. So when you look at what's inevitable for you, you'll go into these 5 stages. And I want you guys to teach your people this. Show them the slideshow. I'm going to send you the PowerPoint. Help them understand. No matter who you are, you start off at impossible. When you take a small child, they're born into the world of impossible. They don't know how to speak. They don't know how to walk. They don't know how to tie their shoes. They don't know how to do anything. Everyone starts at impossible. Then you have a tiny little success and you graduate to improbable. Then a little bit better, it becomes possible. Now we're believing things are optimistic. The world's going to be okay. I mean, let's look at the political situation right now. Donald Trump just won, president-elect. Hillary lost. There are half of the world, or half the United States, voted for Hillary, half voted for Trump. Half still thinks that it's impossible. They're going to believe that he's going to run this country into the ground. The other half feel it's probable or inevitable. These are nothing more than beliefs. The truth is we don't know anything yet. He hasn't been sworn in. We don't know anything at all. But it's all based off belief. So teach your people to have a belief, to have impossible, improbable, possible, probable, and inevitable. And here's how you do it. Well, actually, let me share this quote with you. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they become inevitable. Christopher Reeves. So here's how you change your beliefs. You have to plant seeds, and I like acronyms, and I like the acronym of SEED. First is S. See that someone else has done it. This is the importance of the Money Matrix videos. The reason why I create these videos for you every single day, we have over 300 videos now, is so that you can see somebody else achieving something that might have felt impossible. Share them with your team. Make your team watch them every single day. Bob invests a lot of money to make these videos available for you. Every company that I work with charges individually to the people. He has already paid a licensing fee for you to have them. So take advantage of them. It's an amazing thing. I was talking to Jay, and Jay said that over 40,000 videos have been viewed. That's fantastic. But let's get that up to 400,000. Watch them every morning. Share them with your teams. The first E, you have to experiment. You have to try a new belief. You have to test it, see if it works. Find out for yourself whether or not it's true. Then the second E, you got to examine it. Review your new belief. Did it work? What was the result? And the most important thing is the D, decide. Make a decision. The definition of decide, it means to cut off, to break away, to not retreat. So when you watch a video, when you read a biography, when you watch a documentary, that is sampling somebody else's success. And in the laws of reciprocity, or last week we talked about the 6 principles of persuasion. One of them is reciprocity. One of them likability, social proof. Social proof is sampling. When the kids were too afraid to go into a playpen with puppies because they were deathly afraid of them, for 20 minutes for a week, they would watch other kids play with puppies. 67% of them were willing to get in the playpen simply because they saw social proof. So when you sample things, sample positive things. Don't read all the negative stuff in the news. Don't read stuff online that's negative. Go for what is positive. Sample that good stuff, experiment on it, examine it, and then decide. William James is recognized as the father of American psychology. When he was 22 years old, he was very suicidal. He thought he would end his life. His father and his brother were very successful entrepreneurs and doctors, and he thought, I can't compete. I can't compare. I don't fit. So he thought his world was impossible. So he thought, you know what? Before I take my life, for 1 year, I'm going to believe anything and everything is possible, and I'm going to act accordingly. So he wrote a book. He went out there and gave speeches, and lo and behold, after that year, his entire life changed. It's inspired inside of him to study psychology and create psychology, and half the practices in psychology today are stemmed from his research. So anything and everything is possible. So what I want to do for the next little bit, and I'm going to see if this will work, is I want to share with you guys different videos. And I've already asked some of you, I've tested this earlier, do these videos work? So here's kind of the end of this if it doesn't work for you. So if you are at home watching this live and you can't hear the audio and you can't see the video, don't worry. I'm actually going to email as soon as I'm done with recording all 5 of these videos and how you can use these in your coaching. So I'm going to start first with the how to use. So this first video is about the lottery ticket. How do you use this? From a mindset standpoint, you got to help other people realize that they have a winning lottery ticket. That is their mind. But many people are not using it because they do not value what it means and the true value of who they really are. So I want to share this video. I hope you guys can hear it and see it and it works for you, but we'll give it a shot.
Are you sitting on a winning lottery ticket right now? Most entrepreneurs are. To a winning lottery ticket. It all depends on what you do with it. On August 8th, 2015, the Super Lotto Plus ticket was purchased at a 7-Eleven in Chatsworth, California. The winning numbers are 46, 1, 33, 30, 16, and mega number 24. What is this little piece of paper worth? This unclaimed lottery ticket is worth an astounding $63 million. Since the ticket was never turned in, the jackpot is forfeited. It goes into the California public school system. A recent study shows that billions of dollars in accumulated lottery jackpots go unclaimed on an annual basis. What does this have to do with your mind? Everything. Nothing is created physically that is not first created mentally. An engineer has to mentally calculate the curvature of a new product they are designing. An artist must first mentally picture their masterpiece before they pick up a brush. An entrepreneur must think through 100 scenarios before they launch their next product. Your mind is worth many winning lottery tickets. How many million-dollar ideas go unclaimed? How many times have you mentally created a new invention and then 6 months to a year later you see it sitting on the shelf and now someone else is profiting from the same concept? You are the only one who can take your ideas from the mental sphere into a physical realm. You have to cash your mental lottery tickets. They will not cash themselves. Most likely, someone in California is grudgingly driving to work right now with a $63 million piece of paper in their pocket and now it is worthless. They could have been retired. At some point in your life, you are going to realize your ideas could have created a future for you and your family. The following 3 steps will help you cash in on your ideas. Step number 1, list it to live it. Get a journal or a drawing pad and lay out your idea in detail. What would you do with it? How would you sell it? How would you solve a customer's problem? Who is your target market? What is a competitive price point? Step number 2, make a prototype. If your idea is a physical or digital product, create a prototype. This can be a very rudimentary design made from duct tape and cardboard. The point of a prototype is to test your ideas to see if it will actually work. In this process, you may find some design flaws you did not see in your mind. Step number 3, seek advice and feedback. Show your prototype to your potential customers and trusted business advisors. Feedback is priceless. We don't know what we don't know. We need outside influence to make sure we are on the right track. Never underestimate the value of a good idea. All great inventions were first someone's idea. Your mind, like winning lottery tickets, is only valuable if you use it. Call to action, mindset. Today, take the next 14 minutes and do step number 1, list it to live it. Write down your ideas on paper and start taking action immediately. If you don't, you are potentially throwing away a winning lottery ticket.
All right, so what I've done is I've taken 5 matrix videos and I've made them public for you. So I put these on YouTube. I'm going to email you this list and how to use this list to help your people. So I'm going to show you 4 more videos, all following the acronym of money, and then I'm going to do a mastermind question at the end.
Wait for an opportunity. How long would you wait for an opportunity? This guy waited over a decade and then broke every box office record. When you go to the movie theater and you sit back in your reclining chair with your popcorn, milk dud, and soda to escape the next 2 hours, it is hard to remember Hollywood is just like any other business that has deadlines, funding requirements, products, services, distribution, and an executive management team. We just want to be entertained for the next couple of hours. Most movies take roughly 2 years for writing, talent auditions, location, scouting, filming, editing, special effects, and musical scoring. It is roughly a 2-year buildup for a product launch that often doesn't stay in theaters for longer than 3 weeks. We trade the price of a ticket for roughly 2 years of hundreds of people's effort. Then every once in a while, an opportunity comes along that takes a decade to get greenlit, but smashes every record. In 2005, actor Ryan Reynolds fell in love with an unlikely comic book hero named Deadpool. He got together with a writing team and a director to take this foul-mouthed character to the big screen. For the next 11 years, he said it was an on-again and off-again relationship. At one point, his studio would say yes and then eventually lose interest. They wrote and rewrote the script countless times. Then in 2011, Reynolds played the Green Lantern, which bombed at the box office, and studios were afraid to take a risk on this untried actor and comic book hero, so the opportunity got shelved again. Keeping an entrepreneurial mindset, he didn't back down. He created an opportunity for Fox Studio to fund just a sample piece of the film to show among studio executives to get more support to make the movie. At this point, only 4 people had access to the footage. Reynolds acknowledges that somehow it got released to the Deadpool fan base, which erupted in letters being written to Fox to make the movie. By creating this strategic opportunity, Deadpool was released in 2016 on President's Day weekend. What was the outcome of waiting over 10 years? The Marvel superhero movie broke several box office records for the opening weekend, including biggest rated R movie opening of all time. According to ComScore, the movie pulled in a record-breaking $132.4 million over the holiday weekend and $152 million including President's Day. These totals have shattered several box office records, including biggest February weekend movie opening, biggest R-rated movie opening, beating out the previous record holder, 2003's The Matrix Reloaded, even when accounting for inflation, biggest R-rated comic book superhero movie, biggest X-Men debut, and biggest opening weekend for a Ryan Reynolds 20th Century Fox or director Tim Miller movie ever. When it comes to your opportunities, they are a lot like seeds. Some will grow rapidly, others need to be nurtured and continually watched over before you begin to see growth. Call to action, opportunity. Today, take the next 15 minutes and research marketing ideas from different industries. If you are sales, read the covers of magazines in the grocery check stands. Look to other industries to find creative solutions to market your business. You never know where your best marketing ideas will come from. If you do this activity, you may find a new way to attract more customers, which will increase your sales.
So here's how you use this one and how it can benefit your people. Opportunities have to be created. They're not just given. They spent years making Deadpool, but the payoff was huge. If you stick with Renatus, over time, it will be a huge benefit. So show, even if you have potential clients, show them these videos. Download them to your iPad or to a laptop and show them, hey, you know what? Part of being in the community with Renatus, you get access to these videos. Every single day there's a new video produced. You can watch these. These will help you overcome your challenges and beliefs. It'll give you sales ideas, marketing ideas. Use this to truly benefit your business. Let's go to the next one.
Does it take money to make money? No. All you need are these 5 currencies. To build your business, it does not take money to make money. It takes an exchange in currency. In Relationships to Riches, business strategist Woody Woodward has identified the 5 currencies that every entrepreneur can use to build their business. They are mental currency, emotional currency, spiritual currency, physical currency, and financial currency. Society rewards you based on the currencies you exchange and the value you create. Top athletes, CEOs, investors, actors, musicians, and entrepreneurs make millions a year when they exchange their currencies by creating value in the marketplace. There are 5 simple steps to building relationships to riches. Step 1. Rate your currencies from your strongest to weakest. What do you feel is your strongest currency? Is it mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, or financial? What currency do you have the most of to exchange with others? Step 2. Get clear on what you really want. Most people cannot truthfully answer this question in detail. They may say, I want to be happy, or I want to be skinny, or I want more money. But why? Why do they want those things? This is where most people get stuck. Keep asking yourself why until you get to your core desire. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. Step 3. Identify who has what you want. Who do you know who has what you want? who could help you get an introduction to the person who has what you want. If you needed wood to build a house, where would you go? Would you go to the post office? Of course not. You would go to the lumber yard. It is the same in business. Too often we go to the wrong person to get the advice we seek. Step 4. Exchange your currency with others. When you are networking, find out what other people need and solve their problem by using your currencies. This is how all top entrepreneurs create wealth. Oprah Winfrey exchanged her emotional currency with her audience to create billions. Warren Buffett exchanges financial currency through buying and selling companies. Jillian Michaels exchanges her physical currency through her DVDs and workouts. Deepak Chopra exchanges his spiritual currency through his radio show and books. And billionaire Elon Musk exchanges his mental currency through the development of his companies from PayPal to Tesla Motors. Step 5. Reinvest your currencies. The way to create massive wealth is through compound interest. Compound interest allows you to reinvest your gains over and over again. You can strengthen any one of your 5 currencies by investing and then reinvesting. For example, if you wanted to increase your spiritual currency, you could pray, do something that builds faith, or read a spiritual book. To increase your physical currency, go to a gym, eat a healthy diet, or change your schedule to allow you to be more present and available to others. Financial currency can be strengthened by saving a little more each day, paying down debt, or making sound investments. Mental currency increases when you study new topics, memorize people's names, or learn something new. Emotional currency is increased when you give service or offer gratitude. You can't give what you don't have. The secret to building relationships to riches is by reinvesting in yourself and in your 5 currencies. This will increase your confidence, strength, and value in the world. Call to action, networking. Today, take the next 15 minutes and call a business associate and ask them what they need right now. Look at your 5 currencies and see how you can use them to solve their problem. As you make deposits into other people, you are creating relationships to riches.
So the way to do this is teach people it does not take money to make money. They just need to tap into their 5 currencies. They can create anything with their 5 currencies. In 2008, I had a client come to my home. He was in real estate. He lost everything, and he was just destroyed. He's like, Woody, I can't be internal. This external world's destroying me. What do I do? So I sat him down. I sat him down. And I taught him his 5 currencies, and I said, you have an incredible physical currency. You have a great ability to speak. You have a fantastic presence. You have an amazing mental currency. So he exchanged those 2 currencies in the marketplace. He went out there and he started speaking for other companies. And he went from 0 money per month to making $30,000 and $40,000 a month simply by exchanging his currencies in the worst economy of our lifetime. So teach your people that they don't need money to make money. They just need to use their currencies on a daily basis. All right, last 2.
Are you following the business equation to financial success? New York Times bestselling author Gary B. Gunderson has cracked the code to helping business owners and entrepreneurs create financial success through one simple equation. The equation is MC plus RC equals FC. It stands for mental capital plus relationship capital equals financial capital. He is often quoted as saying, "You are only one idea or one relationship away from getting to the next level." Dean Kamen, inventor of the Segway and 440 other patents, came up with a new idea to purify water for third world countries where 3.5 million people die annually because of diseases resulting from the consumption of unsanitary water. His new technology, the slingshot, can transform 97% of water that is undrinkable into water that can be used and consumed on the spot readily and inexpensively. The device takes contaminated water and runs it through a vapor compression distiller that produces clean water, producing 250 gallons daily, enough for 100 people. The devices have been used with anything that looks wet, including polluted river water, saline ocean water, and raw sewage. His product literally saves lives. Kamen met with government officials and dignitaries around the world, and no one would help him get his product into villages. He personally met with the United Nations, who has a presence in 130 countries, but was turned down and told they could not help him. In Gunderson's equation, Kamen had amazing mental capital, but to get to the next level, he was missing relationship capital. Then he reached out to the CEO of the Coca-Cola Company, which is in over 240 countries, with the idea to create clean water. One of Coke's challenges was they needed clean water to make their soda. At one point, Coke had to stop selling in India because they could not find a source of clean water. This is one of the largest markets with over 1.2 billion potential customers. Another problem Coke was faced with was they needed to redesign the soda fountain, which had not changed in over 60 years. Coke told Cayman if he could help them create a new soda fountain, they would help him get his purifiers into countries around the world. Cayman and his team spent 2 years designing and redesigning what became the new Coke Freestyle machine. The Freestyle machine was an instant success. A standard soda dispenser can usually only deliver 6 to 8 options. The Freestyle dispenser has over 100. Cayman had mental capital, Coke had relationship capital, which equaled an enormous financial capital for both Cayman and Coke. Not to mention that an untold number of people throughout the world will be saved by having clean drinking water. As you look at your business, remember you are only one idea or one relationship away from getting to the next level. Call to action, entrepreneurship. Today, take the next 12 minutes and review your business plan. Are you in need of the next idea or relationship? Look within your network to discover your next move. If you do this, you will be on your way to the next level.
So the simple equation, MC plus RC equals FC, mental capital plus relationship capital equals financial capital. Teach that to your people. Teach them the 5 stages of belief. Teach them Garrett's equation. This will help them realize, oh man, I just need to keep going. Let's be honest, the only thing that really stops somebody is their belief system. That's it. And if you look at anyone who's ever been successful, what allowed them to be successful? Their belief system. That's it. It's not race, sex, religion, where they were born. It's their belief that they could do it, that they could stick to it, that they can make it happen. So we as leaders and trainers need to consistently and constantly inspire them. Well, you can't inspire others if you yourself are not inspired. So commit to watching the videos every day for yourself, and then commit to sharing them with others so that they too can be lifted up. All right, we'll end on this last one, and I got a question for you for the mastermind.
What can happen when you follow your passion? Are you following yours? Here is what can happen when you follow your passion. Are you following yours? Jacob Euphes was born in the city of Riga during the Russian Empire in 1831. During his time in Riga City, he trained and worked as a tailor. In 1854, at the age of 23, he immigrated from the Russian Empire to the United States, arriving in New York where he changed his name to Jacob Davis. There he ran a tailor shop before moving to Maine, and then in 1856, San Francisco. The U.S. had gold fever, and every immigrant and American rushed to the West to stake their claim. While there, he tried his hand with a brewery, but quickly found he could not provide for his wife and 6 children. Eventually, he moved to Reno, Nevada, and went back to his skill set and passion as a tailor. Davis made functional items such as tents, horse blankets, and wagon covers for the railway workers on the Central Pacific Railroad. The fabric Davis worked with was a heavy-duty cotton duck cloth and a heavy-duty cotton denim cloth, which he bought from Levi Strauss & Company, a dry goods company in San Francisco. To strengthen the stress points of the sewn items he was making, Davis used copper rivets to reinforce the stitching. In December 1870, Davis was asked by a customer to make a pair of strong working pants for her husband, who was a woodcutter. To create suitably robust pants for working, he used duck cloth and reinforced the weak points in the seams and pockets with the copper rivets. Such was the success of these pants that word spread throughout the laborers along the railroad. Davis was making these working pants in duck cotton and as early as 1871 in denim cotton. Before long, he found he could not keep up with demand. Davis had previously applied for patents for other inventions. Realizing the potential value of his reinforced jeans concept, in 1872 he approached Levi Strauss, who was still his supplier of fabric, and asked for his financial backing in the filing of a patent application. Strauss agreed, and on May 20, 1873, U.S. Patent number 139121 for improvements in fastening pocket openings was issued in the name of Jacob W. Davis and Levi Strauss & Company. That same year, Davis started sewing a double orange threaded stitch design onto the back pocket of the jeans to distinguish them from those made by his competitors. What would have happened to the invention of the blue jean if Davis did not go back into tailoring? Would denim be the fabric of choice for pants, or would it have been a fad of the last century? When we follow our passion, we never know what we can achieve. Call to action, you. Today, take the next 12 minutes and review your current business. What do you need to do to take yourself to the next level? Are you following your true passion? If not, why?
When I found this story, it was absolutely one of my all-time favorites because for years and years we all believed and thought it was Levi Strauss who invented the blue jeans, but it wasn't. It was another guy. So sharing that video with someone will help them realize that no matter how small they are, no matter where they're starting, if they believe in themselves, they can make something greater than themselves. So that is it for our mastermind. One question I want to ask you today and to mastermind with you is text me, you know my number, 951-973-3408. Text me, what is the number one thing I can do to help you with your teams? We've got about 2 masterminds left. I want to know what I can do to build greater value for you. A couple of texts that came in earlier when I asked this question before we started recording was simply, you want content, you want stuff that you can share with other people. And that's why I created this today, and I'll send you the PowerPoint and these 5 videos. So I'm going to end at that. I'm not going to read the answers off. I'll personally read them later, and then I will respond to them and prepare different content for next week. So have a fantastic week. Keep crushing it. I love you. Go out there and play hard, and we will talk soon. Take care.